Hello interweb, welcome back. Right, where are we? We have actually made a decision to move one sector away from the sector with the shops and the asteroids. Not so much because I don't like asteroids, because I do, but that sector was quite laggy. So what I have done is I have moved the home base to a new location. I did some very small update to the ship as well. I stuck a cargo module on and I attached it to 12 cargo blocks. No longer appear to have the little red rubbish, but we do have what looks like a force field. And there we mentioned in episode 1 that this would represent how full your cargo is, and indeed that's all being used up, and a little bit of my excess space over here is being used as well. Interesting choice to make that a different kind of bulk texture than the ship. It makes sense, I guess, because I guess these are supposed to be things that attach to the ship as opposed to the ship itself. So I've got no complaints there, just observing. Now, what we do want to do is within our spaceship or within our space station, we need to be able to do some various things. What I'm going to do, we've got some grey standard armour here, so we will lay that there. I'm going to use a symmetry plane, but I'm going to use a symmetry plane largely because I can never tell when building these stations which way it thinks it's set. So if you set the red symmetry plane, then you know that one of those is the front and one of those is the back. It's not really that important to know which one's the front and which one's the back, but it is more important to know where, whether it thinks that it's going to be, because if you use your stuff here, but you've actually got the symmetry the wrong way around, then you won't know which way to extend it, etc. And you'll be going, oh, I did a Z, I needed an X. Oh, and then all my stuff's facing the wrong way. Whoa. Well, those are all my standard armor blocks that I came up with when I started. Now, what I could have done at the shop recently, I could have bought some stuff, but that would be too easy. What I want to do instead is I want to go into craft, and we'll is it craft? Yeah, that'll do. So I'll take 2 of those blocks, and I'll stick that in there. I'll stick 2 of those blocks in there, and what I'll get out of that is ores make mesh, and crystals, or shards, sorry, make crystal. Now they do that, and I can take that stuff on board. I've got plenty of this stuff to spare really, so I'll take 10 of those, bung them in there. I'll take 10 of those and I'll bung them in there, and I'm going to leave that going. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to now craft. Now I'm going to walk out of my building. I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to craft a basic factory. What I need for a basic factory is either 10 alloyed metal mesh or 10 crystal composite. So I will take half of that. I'll make a basic factory. Dum dicky dum dum. Got to wait for that to go. Dum dum ba dum dum da dum. Right, now I don't need to worry about. Oh, I should put that in there. Now, thinking about stations in general, the build block is where you're going to end up building stuff. Obviously, you're not going to want the public to have access to that. You're also going to want to protect it somewhat, so you're going to want it near the middle of the station. But at the same time, the faction block is also what the baddies have to destroy in order to take over the station. But at the same time, you want to be careful because you need to get into the build block in order to do anything with it. So that's basic. What I'm going to do for here is I'm going to probably generate some power. Get some power to start with. Now that will tell you, oh, I need some alloyed metal mesh. Isn't it lucky that I took crystal composite before? It's almost like I knew. And then what I've got now is I've got a station that has a little bit of power. See, my numbers are going up. What that power is effectively doing is giving just enough juice to that factory. The other thing I want to build with that factory is a capsule refinery. And for that I'm going to need another 20 alloyed metal mesh. And what I should have by now, not from there, from there I've got 100 metal mesh, 100 crystal composite. So those are just you doing those, generally eating the material and then pooping out better material. So stick 20 in there, activate to create our capsule refinery. No, I'm not. Did I? Okay. Did I not look at that a minute ago? Must not have done. Took 10 of those. Now I've got myself a capsule refinery. I'll leave some stuff in there. Next thing this baby really needs is storage. So I'm going to change production to storage. I'm going to create 2 of these. And the production is, again, 10 of each. So I want 20 of each because I want 2. So I'll take 20 of those, stuff that in there. I'll take 10 of those, stuff that in. Oh, no. Hello. Take 10. There you go. Put 10 in. Yes. Well done. Oh, gosh. Now, this isn't going to look all that snazzy for now, but what we'll do, we can always come back and make it snazzier later. The important thing that we're doing here is that we're sort of creating up a chain of events, if you like. And we're taking our 2 storage blocks, and this is basically just how I tend to set these things up. What I will tend to do is I will create a storage facility, in which case I'll take some stuff and put that in. No, it won't like that because it'll be too much. Let's try that. Right, 9,000. So it's got almost all of its inventory in there. And then what I do is I make a capsule refinery, hook up to my cargo entry point on my dump, and then what that should be doing is that is now creating stuff. Now it's taking the shards, and a capsule refinery will do the same thing as you, so it will create your crystal composite or your alloyed metal mesh, but it will also create capsules, and those will be very sexy. And look, it's using up all of the stuff. It's doing 5 capsules and 10 crystal composite every time it's grabbing one of those blocks. And obviously it's grabbing 1 block every time. So let's see, it's just going down. So there's 9,000 of those to take, and then it's going to have done loads of stuff. What this can then do is hook up to the capsule refinery, and then this you can set that auto pull. You can do it by category now, which is really useful. I think I really like the fact that they've added that in, because you go cap and it says capsules, and you say, all right, yeah, and I'll have 500 capsules of every type brought in as soon as they're available. So that is now every time that gets over there, it's going to the capture refinery. It's saying, oh, you got at least 500 in there. I'll grab them, or I'll grab however many you've got. There's two other ones that you want to grab. One of them is crystal composite. Should have just isn't even much better either. But it's in alphabetical order. There you go. Crystal composite. I'd say, yeah, I'll have 500 of that as well. And then you add another single one. You go, alloyed metal mesh. Yeah, I'll have 500 of that as well, please. Thank you very much. Well, now that means that this is now picking up 500 of whatever. And what I should be doing is I should link all of my factories to this storage block. This storage block, again, only has 100 mass capacity, which means it's terrifyingly bad for using anything proper. So cargo space, I'll activate that, see what the production mesh is. It's alloyed metal mesh and crystal composite, but it's only 2 of each now. So I can take my 80 of that. I'll take 70 of that. Then what that will do is that will produce one. Really, alloyed metal mesh and crystal composite. Crystal composite and alloyed metal mesh should be producing. You know why it's not? It must be because it's out of power. So what we'll do for now is we will stick that off, and that's now going. Right, what we can do is we can change that momentarily to create some power. That is entirely the wrong power. I should just stop that, but no, I'd much rather go with the slower version. Luckily, this is only doing 1 block per turn at the moment, or 1 block per extension. So what I do now is I change that back to cargo space whilst it's still sucking up all of my things, and it's only going to make 1 more of those, and then it's going to be out of juice because it's out of thingy stuff, you know, the other stuff, that one, the composite. Right, that should be in the thing. Now stations, no different to anything else. Now if I remember, it doesn't make much of a difference at this point. 476 or 476, yeah, doesn't really make any difference now. But I've got enough power for that to be going on, properly. And then this baby's got some stuff in it. And the other thing that I will do at this time is create a 3000 more power store for the base. Now, the fact that I have made that a home base is useful, and I urge people to make themselves the home base as quickly as possible, because by virtue of being the home base, it becomes invincible, and anything that's attached to it becomes invincible as well, which means that if you then attach your spaceship to it, you can park it there and you can just leave it, and it doesn't matter, even on multiplayer servers. If you are attached to the faction home base, you are immune to damage, regardless of anything else in the world. So you will be fine. Yeah? Alright, we've put some Put some rock down because we don't really have any grey hull at the moment, and this thing's got far too much to do. But what we can do here, we're only losing one of these every couple of minutes. You'll note what I'll do. I'll stick 100 green in here. I'll stick 100 of those in there. I'll stick 100 of those in there. You've got to watch out for this size, but you'd see they're all now going a little bit, and the more a broad range of stuff I get in here, the more useful it is, because certainly when I get into more advanced technologies, some of these I'm going to run out of very quickly, and the others I will have a fair amount of. But what I'd done if I'd have just played vanilla settings, I'd have like 20,000 of these and about that many of those. So this will be interesting to see how it goes. But the capture refinery is now doing all sorts of stuff, and then this cargo block, that's where we start thinking about how we're going to organize stuff, because what I tend to do is I start thinking about colors. What I'll tend to try and do is put things lined up. So that is the output from rocks, so that's sort of bitty content. Then you've got your sort of thick stuff which comes from your ores, and then you've got your crystals. Now unfortunately this does have a habit of sort of reorganizing stuff when it pulls new things in, which can be a little bit irritating, but the ultimate goal for me is normally to get sort of 7 colors across, and then each of the colors to be consistent on the way down. So I'll have my whites, my yellows, my oranges, my reds, my greens, my blues, my purples, my blacks, and then I'll have sort of one space down the side, and then that's when my alloyed and my crystal will come, because these come from all different types of rocks, so you do get a lot of these. But to be honest, a lot of this stuff is then used for most of the recipes from the basic factory. So you connect your factory to your supply store, and then you start saying, right, well, I need to create some cargo production, thanks very much. So I'm going to get rid of this, and it's going to use up the locally stored materials first, and then it's going to move off and get itself some stuff. Now the next thing I'm going to do is find out that a factory enhancer isn't actually available, because that comes from the standard factory. So one standard factory, I'm going to deactivate the production now because I don't need any more standard factories. Can we grab those? Da da da. Standard factory. I'm going to connect that to my cargo bay. Don't need to connect that to a standard factory. Don't need factory to factory at the moment. That it's something you can change factories so that this pulls some raw material out and creates something which this factory then uses to build something a bit more advanced or provide to an advanced factory. What this little baby's going to be making for me is an enhancer, a factory enhancer. Let's see what. Oh, new and swanky little terrain. What's it called? Texture. That's the one. Now I'm going to take those, and then I'm going to give each one of these. I'm going to come out of connection mode. I'm going to give each one of these a factory enhancer. What does a factory enhancer do, you say? It just increases the speed with which you do things. It's totally irrelevant having one on a cargo. So I will create, you know what, I'll create a second one for there. Oh yeah, okay, I see what you're doing there. Well, I like the old ones, but yeah, that's cool. What that's now doing is these are now going 3 times as fast, because that counts as 1, 2, 3, and that'll create things much quicker. It will draw things from here much quicker, which is useful because I mean, it's no use really being in here for us. So we'll stick 400 at a time in there, and there we are beginning to get rid of our very initial stock. Hello. Oh no, I've got too much in there. Alright. Now, basic factory. What you want to do for me is you want to produce some grey hull. Grey hull, the castle grey hull, is it's basically metal mesh, I think. Well, 1 metal mesh and 1 crystal composite. You see it's created 2. Now it's on 4. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take that away and I'm going to hook it up here so that my yeah, it's a little bit choppy this evening. Now this is sort of creating 3 at a time, and therefore I'm getting some hull. And now what I can do is I can delete some of this rock and other stuff that I've placed just as a sort of random placeholder. And I can move towards creating stuff, floors. I have to be careful to remember that the people that make all the reviews don't like constant looking floors. They don't like you just to have the same sort of stuff all over your floor. So I'll watch out for that. Now I'll create some. Well, I guess what I'm thinking is that it'd be a shame to put another grey block under there, because I could just have a block that actually does something. I don't actually need anything at the moment, so I will put it there. Oh, insufficient energy. Oh, it's using a lot more energy because it's creating 3 at a time. Oh, it doesn't like it. Doesn't like it. It's too much. I want you to produce more power. Oh, and it probably doesn't have. Now let's remember it's a reactor. So we can deactivate that for a minute. See if that now has enough juice to start producing. Yeah, it does. Give me another one. Thank you. Come out. Right, so I've got 476 E per second. E. Put that out, noting that it's going in both directions. And now we've got a little reactor that's gone to 2 and 2 in many directions. So let's put it down there like that. And what I'll do is I'll create another one for it. I'll put the capacitors. I know they're more efficient in a block, but there's not a tremendous need for much capacity at the moment. So I'm making 1400. So I can switch that back on. And yeah, my power is still fairly constant. Right. So that I probably want to change back to grey hull for now. Take those. Thank you very much. Do I detect the faintest of glows from these power supplies? Da da da. Oh, well, that's useless. Create 5 across for these. 5 up, 5 down. See, there's nothing majorly spooky or spectacular about this. These are just some placements available for power grids that some people will use. And just go use a couple of these. Just make sure I'm using everything that I've got, or as much as I comfortably want to use for a little while. So I'm generating 8,000 a second now, so yeah, that's fine. And yeah, see, noobs looking around going, oh, but my station doesn't look great. It won't to start with, and in fact it may actually be full of holes. The trick is not to be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of holes. But no. Right, we put in a little bit there. We'll put in a little bit there. Not there. There. There we go. Right, and now I'm thinking, right, so this can be the entry to the station. This is sort of, well, where people will see if they sort of zoom right out and they look at where the station will be in terms of on their radars. It will actually do the first block, which was the one immediately I had put underneath my build block. Now I can move my build block and my faction block. There's no harm in doing that. But the situation I'm in now is that I've got a place where I can take some stuff, some various rocks and things, and I can dump them, and that's alright. But what I want is to be able to actually just dump loads. So what we do is we say, what am I going to do? Over here, let's assume that we'll have something to take us to a thingamajig, a location where we will store some cargo. We'll get rid of those. Would be a lot quicker if I just bought some wedges, to be fair. But you know, I'll do that, or make them a bit later. The important thing is to know roughly what you're thinking. So I'm now thinking, enter in here if you're staff. You want to dump essentially your ill-gotten gains, so your mining materials, in this the sort of start block, and you get access to that, and it says, yeah, give me your materials. I shall leave. I don't need to leave a hole there for another material. Look, I've got a different armor here, so I will momentarily put another type of armor there and another type of armor there, which for the immediate future will satisfy people wanting slightly different floors. Just breaks it up a little bit. So we'll dump our stuff in there, but then beyond then we will be in a position where we have some hull needed, and what we need is we need to grab that. We need to make sure we don't overproduce, but out here there's going to be some hull created, and what we'll do, assuming that there will be a door here on this block, then we'll put a block either side of it. There's no grand plan, it just sort of develops organically. But if you let them develop organically, to be honest, you get an alright sort of build, because you're thinking about everything as you need it. So this little center ring is going to be where the actual door will go, and then either side of it there'll be some wedges instead. So I don't need to place these two blocks, I only need those here, because when the door disappears, it will leave a nice big square gap. When they allow wedges to occupy the same space, two wedges of different materials, then you'll just have a sort of octagonal door with wedges around there. But you can assume for now that what we're going to have is some cargo space needed. So you do a little bit there, and what you do is you create, or you log up some cargo space, and you sort of think, right, well, that's going to be my doorway, so I'm going to create some cargo space here, and I'm going to run out then if I haven't got one, because don't forget I'm doing this on the other side. What that does mean is that I've now got 1.1k, so I've got 11 times the storage space in there. So I can now take a whole bunch of that, for example, a whole bunch of that. I can put sort of quite a lot in here, which is useful. It starts freeing up my own internal inventory. Take some of that, put that in there. Take 5,000 of that. And you just, alright, yeah, so I can do this for quite a few of them. Again, I'm doing a bit of a spread, and that is only so that I can get the broadest range of things moving in there as possible. Now you need to be careful that you don't go over. If you go over, it starts just dumping the materials out on the sides. So now that guy isn't going to do that because I've got plenty of space in there, but this guy is sucking resources from him and he only has 100, and then this guy is sucking resources from that, and you see how I mentioned earlier, that's just realigned all of the stuff. Now that is almost at capacity, because this stuff does tend to mount up. So what we are going to need to do is we are going to need to change that to cargo space, because we need to make more cargo space. And what we're going to do is we're going to slow down this capacitor by actually giving this guy the additional cargo space. Not the cargo space. Why? Why does he need cargo space? He doesn't. He needs factory enhancers. Where are you? Oh, they will look the same to me. Oh, I don't know. I'm blockist. Right, there we go. So that is now generating some cargo space. Now what I'm going to do is I've got to attach cargo space to effectively the capsule refinery and then the storage. The storage is the absolute most important one to have the cargo space, because this is going to fill up like nobody's business. I'm going to do that in the next episode, because I've probably already made this one about an hour long. See you in a bit. Bye bye.